Welcome you back once again in Geological Knowledge. In the previous few lectures we have discussed in detail the igneous petrology, and our basic emphasis was to understand the process of formation of igneous rocks, and as well as their composition, the texture, their forms like discordant and concordant forms, as well as some important igneous rocks we have also talked about. So I think that was very important for one to understand. I 4 or 5 videos we have discussed in petrology section, and in the continuation of that discussion we will move over to next another very important rock, that is sedimentary rock. Okay. The questions will be dealing the sedimentary rocks and their mode of formation, and the first question that is, which rock is also called secondary rock? Igneous rock, sedimentary rock, metamorphic rock, or no class of rock is termed like that. So before we discuss, we must understand some basics of sedimentary rocks. So all in all, what we can understand from the basics point of view, that is the total amount of sedimentary rocks which are existing on the upper 16 kilometer depth of the earth's crust, that is estimated to only about 5%. Okay, the total amount of sedimentary rocks which exist in the upper 16 kilometer of the crust, okay, that estimate only 5%. And these rocks are found chiefly as a extensive cover over the continents. Okay, so what will you get? You will get metamorphic or the igneous rocks, means the crystalline rocks on the older as in the form of older rocks, and they will be overlaid by the sedimentary rocks. Okay, so what you can understand from this discussion is that the sedimentary rocks, they are quite younger in age as compared to the crystalline rocks, either they are metamorphic or igneous in origin. Okay, and sedimentary rocks, they are formed by the process of the consolidation and the cementation of the sediment particles, okay, and which are successively deposited under water conditions. Okay, and they are formally layered in structure. Their structure is layered rocks. They are also called as layered rocks. Because why they are called as them, we will talk about later, because they are formed as a thin beds or laminations. Okay, and they also include the rocks which are formed by the accumulation of the chemically precipitated or the organically derived material like limestone. Okay, so sedimentary rocks occur in layer and frequently contain fossils. Okay, so they contain fossils in their structure. Okay, metamorphic and igneous rocks, they are 99% devoid of fossils. Okay, but sedimentary rocks, they are full of fossils, or they are rich in fossil fauna. Okay, now we come back to the question, which rock is also termed as secondary rock? So sedimentary rocks are known as secondary rocks. Why? Because they include a wide variety of rocks which are formed by the accumulation of compaction as well as the consolidation of sediments. Okay, so that's why they are called as secondary rock. Okay, or when igneous or metamorphic rocks, they are deformed or they are varied by some other factors, they give rise to sedimentary rocks. Okay, so that is here, correct option is option B. Next one is, which is the rock present in the majority on the surface of the earth? Igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, metamorphic rocks, or no class of rocks in particular? So as we have discussed, that is the metamorphic and the igneous rocks, they are forming the lower horizons or the older horizons of the rocks. Okay, and they are covered successively by the sedimentary rocks. And same you can see in the description, sedimentary rocks are known to be covered as much as more than 70% of the surface of the earth. Okay, and the rest being covered by the igneous as well as the metamorphic rocks. Okay, so here the option B, that is sedimentary rocks. Next one is, what are the mechanically formed sedimentary rocks called as? Okay, mechanically formed sedimentary rocks are called as clastic rocks, non-clastic rocks, elite rocks, or the mech rocks. So sedimentary rocks, they are generally grouped into two groups. They are generally classified or divided into two groups, the clastic as well as the non-clastic rock, or we can classify them on the basis of their mode of formation, that is mechanically formed or the clastic rocks, and organically formed rocks and chemically precipitated rocks, which are called as non-clastic. Okay, so clastic sedimentary rocks, they are formed by the broken fragments of pre-existing rocks. Okay, so clast is a basic term, and clast means the broken fragments or broken pieces of pre-existing rock, and pre-existing rock, that can be metamorphic or igneous in origin. Okay, and they range in size from minute clay particle to very large boulders. And clastic rocks are formed by the mechanical accumulation of grain of clastic sediments. Okay, and depending upon the size of the constituent grains, they are again classified into three main groups, which are rudasious sedimentary rocks, arenaceous sedimentary rocks, and argillaceous sedimentary rock. So basis of this classification, that is the grain size. Okay, the constituent size of the particular grain, on that basis they have been classified. So the question, that is, what are the mechanically formed sedimentary rocks called as? Now it's very evident, as you can answer this question, that is clastic sedimentary rocks. Next one is, detrital rocks refer to which type of sedimentary rocks? Okay, detrital type of rocks is classified, or which type of sedimentary rock? Mechanically formed, organically formed, chemically formed, or the residual? Residual means leftover particles or leftover sediments. So they are known as mechanically formed. Okay, and what happens during this process? So during the formation of the sedimentary rocks by a mechanical method, the original hard and coherent rock bodies are gradually broken down into smaller fragments, and this disintegrated, loosened or material, that is known as detritus. Okay, so the disintegrated means divided into pieces or loosened material, that is known as the sedimentology as detritus, and hence clastic rocks are often called as detrital rocks. Okay, so here the correct option is mechanically formed, option A. Next one is, the important phenomena that happens during the deposition is known as? Okay, what is the important phenomena that takes place during deposition? Settling, erosion, salting, or blowing? So the option is salting. Okay, and why and how this salting takes place, that is point of discussion, and it's very important from the exam point of view. Okay, so the most important phenomena that happens to the sediments during their transportation and the deposition process, that is the salting of the grains or the grading according to their size, shape as well as density. Okay, so when the sedimentary rocks are being deposited, or the sediments are being deposited to form a sedimentary rock, in that mean process what happens, that is the grain size, the particles or the sediments, they are arranged according to their sizes, shape as well as the density, and this process is known as sorting or grading. Okay, you would have uh, heard the term like well sorted, poorly sorted, or the moderately sorted. So poorly sorted, well sorted means all the grain size will be of equal size, equal shape and equal density. Their composition they may vary, but their shape and size, that will be equal in form. Okay, but on the other side, if we talk about the poorly sorted, so poorly sorted means their grain size will be very rough. Some will be boulder type, some will be class type, some will be clay type. So their grain size, that will be vary. Okay, and their composition may be same. So this is not a situation that composition will be same or different. It can be same or different in both sides. Okay, but well sorted means that is the grain size that is equal in size. Okay, so here the correct option, that is option C, sorting. We will discuss it in detail when we will talk about the texture and structures of igneous rocks. Okay, there we will talk it about again. Next one is deposition takes place in which condition? Means what is the favorable condition for the deposition of the sediments? Okay, ordinary pressure and temperature, high pressure and low temperature, high pressure and low temperature, high pressure and high temperature. Okay, so there are combinations given here, and as you know, that is the deposition that takes place in ordinary pressure as well as the temperature. Okay, so pressure and high pressure and high temperature, that is required for the formation of metamorphic rocks, but in case of sedimentary rocks, ordinary pressure and temperature is required. Okay, because why? We know that is the igneous sedimentary rocks, they are layered in structure. So how these layer will be formed? Because of the compression, because of the overburden of the rocks or overburden of the sediments. Okay, and hence in particularly the pressure and temperature of the formation, so they will give rise to the layers. Okay, so the sorting or the grading, as we have talked, that occurs during the deposition stage of the formation of sedimentary rocks, and the deposition happens in layers in most of the cases, and deposition generally takes place under ordinary pressure and temperature condition. Okay, and if the question is there that high temperature and pressure, that is the point of discussion in metamorphic petrology, that how the pressure and temperature varies between different types of facies and metamorphic zones. Okay, so that is another point of discussion that we will discuss when we will talk about the metamorphic petrology. But as well as this particular question or in sedimentology part is concerned, we have to understand that is the ordinary pressure and temperature that is required for the deposition of sedimentary rocks. Okay, or deposition takes place in ordinary pressure and temperature conditions. That is what you can understand from this discussion at all. Okay, so here correct option is option A. Next one is the process that is not associated with diagenesis. Okay, so there are 4 statements which are given here, and you have to tell that which one is not associated with the diagenesis. So first option is sediments get gradually converted to cohesive material, sediments get gradually converted to hard material, decaying occurs basically, or might occur due to the pressure or the cementing material. Okay, so that is, so as you can see in the description box, that is the process or of the transformation of the loose sediments deposited in the settlement basins to solid cohesive rock masses, either which have under pressure or because of the cementation, that is collectively known as diagenesis. Okay, and there are two terms, diagenesis and lithification. Okay, so lithification can be defined as the process by which the soft and loose sediments or the loose particles, they are converted into hard and firm rocks. Okay, and such type of process is known as consolidation process, as you can see. But during the process of this consolidation stage, the many physical as well as the chemical changes that takes place within the sediments, so such changes are called as the diagenetic changes. Okay, and this process that is described as diagenesis. Okay, or you can say in other terms, so all the physical and chemical processes or the changes that takes place to form a sedimentary rock is known as diagenetic process, and the process is known as diagenesis. Okay, so that is in simple terms you can understand. And there are various stages in the diagenetic process, that is the compaction, cementation, recrystallization. Okay, so that we will discuss later. But this current question that is associated, the process which is not associated with the diagenesis is, so that is the decaying occurs basically. Okay, so that is not occurring. And the remaining options, the sediments get gradually converted to cohesive material, sediments get gradually converted to the harder materials, and they might occur due to the pressure or the cementing materials. Okay, so here the correct option is option C, that is decaying occurs basically, that is not associated with the process of diagenesis. Next one is the process which involves pressure exerted by the load is known as loading, welding, cementation, or the unloading. So this is known as welding process. So welding is the process of the compaction of the sediments that accumulate in the lower layers of a basin due to the pressure exerted by the load of the overlying settlements or the overlying sediments. Okay, so because of the overlying sediments, they exert pressure onto the lower rocks or the lower layers. Okay, so that process is known as welding. Okay, the process of compaction of the sediments, that is known as welding process. So here the correct option being the option B. Next one is the process other than welding which is studied under the diagenesis is known as co-welding, cementation, pressurizing, or the unloading. So that we known as cementation process. Okay, so there are three processes as we have already discussed, that is the compaction, cementation, and diagenesis process. Okay, so during the compaction process, that occurs when the weight of the overlying layers that compresses the sediments below, and the grains, as the grains of the sediments are pressed closer and closer together. Okay, and there is considerable reduction in the pore spaces of the volume, pore spaces as well as the volume because of the compaction. And in the process of cementation, so when water that circulates through the pore spaces of the coarse grained sedimentary rocks, the dissolved matter that is precipitated between the grains, and which causes the cementation process. Okay, and the most common cementing material, that is silica, calcium carbonate, or the iron oxide, and sometimes clay minerals, they also form the cementing material. Okay, and this the identification of the cementation material, that is a relatively simple matter. Okay, calcium, the calcite cement that will effervescence, that's not part of our today's discussion, that we will discuss later or in next video. But as far as this particular question is concerned, so the process other than the welding which is studied under the diagenesis process, that is the cementation process. And the first one, that is the compaction. Okay. Next one is rock salt may be formed by the process as given in the options: continued precipitation, winds, continued evaporation, and erosion. Okay, so that you have to discuss, or that's the question, that rock salt that may be formed by the processes. So that is formed by the very important process, and that is the evaporation process. Okay, so what happens, that is the limestone that can be formed by the precipitation from the carbonated water. Okay, so limestone, as we know, that is the CaCO3. Okay, that is formed by the other processes. So the carbonated water, that's due to the loss of carbon dioxide. Okay, so limestone that is formed, what is the process behind the formation of limestone? This is formed by the precipitation from the carbonated water. So from the carbonated water, due to the loss of the carbon dioxide, the rock salt that may be formed from the sodium chloride rich water or NaCl rich water, and merely by the process of the continued evaporation. Okay, so that solution, that sodium chloride rich solution or the seawater, when the evaporation process takes place, so the aqueous material that gets evaporated, and what generally we get, that is in the form of rock salt. Okay, so the correct option here is option C. Next one is example of chemically formed sedimentary rocks is gypsum, sandstone, shale, or breccia. So as we know, that is the best example is gypsum. Okay, and so chemically formed rocks are of two types. Okay, the two types are precipitates and evaporites, means which is formed by the process of precipitation, and other one that is formed by the process of evaporation. And examples are limestone, rock salt, gypsum, and anhydrite. Okay, so here the correct option is the examples of chemically formed sedimentary rocks. So from the given options you can easily understand that is the gypsum is the correct option. Okay, next one is you have to pick the organically formed sedimentary rock, means the non-clastic rock you have to pick out: shale, breccia, sandstone, or the limestone. So you can easily point out that is the limestone, that is the organically formed sedimentary rock. Okay, and if we talk about the nature of limestone, so that is calcareous in nature, and which is formed by the chemically or organically, the process of its formation, that is chemical in nature, and commonly white in nature, or its color can vary, gray color, cream color. Okay, and often that consists of fossils. So most important property of limestone, that is the presence of fossils. And how we can identify? So it's identified by their softness, the fossil content, and effervescence in dilute hydrochloric acid. Okay, so when we put dilute HCl or hydrochloric acid on limestone, so that effervescence, that effers. Okay, so that is its identification, means on what basis you can identify. So their softness, their fossil content, and their effervescence when reacted with the hydrochloric acid or when poured on the limestone. And the composition you all know, that is the calcium carbonate, that is the chief constituent minerals in the limestone, and magnesium carbonate, that is also present in variable amounts. Okay, so the option, pick the organically formed sedimentary rocks. So the correct option here is limestone, option D. Next one is how is the degree of packing in welding related to the load of overlying sediments? Directly related, inversely related, not related, or totally independent? So welding initially involves a squeezing out of the all or most of the water form in between the sediments. Welding process means that involves the squeezing out of all or most of the water form from in between the sediments, and thus bringing them closer and closer, hence resulting to in the compaction process. Okay, and in fact the degree of packing of the sediments in a sedimentary rock, that is directly proportional to the load of the overlying sediments. Okay, so that is directly proportional to, means if the load the overload is more, the welding process that will take place in higher proportion. Okay, or the water that is present in between the layers, that will be squeezed more happily. Okay, or okay, so here the correct option is, how is the degree of packing in welding that is related to the load of overlying sedimentary rocks? So means that is directly related. Okay, and next one is, animal and vegetable life don't contribute to the formation of sedimentary rocks. So there is a statement that animal and the vegetable life don't contribute to the formation of sedimentary rock. So this statement is given here, and you have to find whether it's true or false. So this is false statement, because animal and vegetable life, including the microorganisms, they also contribute a fairly large supply of organic residue, okay, which on gradual accumulation after the death of the source, that get compacted and turns finally into a hard massive bodies of a sedimentary rock. Okay, so the statement that is given here, that is false. So animal and vegetable life, they contribute to the formation of sedimentary rocks, what you have to understand in all. Okay, so here the correct option is option B, or the given statement is false. So this was our general discussion about the sedimentary rocks or the sedimentology part, and in the next video we will talk about some other very important questions related to the structures and textures of sedimentary rocks. Okay, thank you.